I used to be into gnomes. Now I'm into Buddhas, and I'm making a lot of them. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs and the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog for Monday, March the 21st, 2022. And it is vlog number 257, and it is day 741 of COVID. Heard there was a new strain hitting us. Yeah, just when you thought things were getting better. But let's forget about that for now, and let's go on to happier topics. So, current projects. Well, I just said let's go to happier topics, and this really isn't a happy topic, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. So here it is. This is my Ukraine banner honoring and supporting the Ukrainian people that are going through a horrendous, and that's not even a word to describe it, I'm sure, time. So I thought at least I could show the rest of the world outside my front door my support for the Ukrainian people. And I think I'm reflecting the feelings of most Canadians as well. And here it is. I'm really happy the way it turned out. It was a free pattern by Pat Sloan. Pat Sloan is a guru of the quilting world, if you don't know who that is. And I'm really proud of the quilting I did on this. I mean, it's a small piece. It only measures about 24 inches square. So I was able to do it on my domestic machine. But I did do what's called ruler foot quilting, and although it's just straight lines, I did them in kind of a spiral within each one of these shapes. And I had fabric in my stash that was very close to the blues and yellows that are used in the Ukrainian flag. So I'm happy with the way it turned out, and it will sit on my front door of my house until this conflict has been resolved. And hopefully it will be resolved very, very soon. So yeah, let's go back here to me. And that's all I have as far as current projects are concerned. Of course, we've been working on our skirts, our costumes for the Ultimate Sewing Retreat. Ultimate Sewing is our local quilt store, as you know. That comes up at the end of the month, and we are sort of part of the programming and entertainment. So our alter egos, Matilda Mudslinger and Gladass Happy Bum, will be making an appearance, and we do have our costumes. And I'm just looking down here in my notes to see if this is when I want to show this to you, and I think it is. We might as well. So what we've got done so far, and no, I do not have a picture of it so far. So, yeah, I'm going to save that for the Idiot Quilter tomorrow, and you'll see it. Now, you did see it if you checked out Stephen and Walter live this week. So, moving on, let's go to a YouTube channel that is somewhat controversial. And, well, I'll let you see it first, and maybe I'll talk a little bit about it at the end as well. So I'm going to insert that here. Sometimes when I'm looking through YouTube channels, I like to look at ones that present, well, I guess they call them lifestyle type videos, you know, where people talk about their homes or how to decorate or things like that. And some of them can be very pretentious. And this is one that is kind of pretentious, but at the same time very interesting. And it's called Nicolas Fairford. Now, this is sort of a controversial YouTube channel because this young person who creates these videos, it's a question of whether or not this person is real. Meaning, some people think that he has a fake accent and that basically the persona that he presents on YouTube is fake. Nevertheless, whatever way you think about it, it is still entertaining, and there actually is some very good tips and tricks about entertaining or about setting tables, or it's just nice to look at nice things sometimes. So here's the first page of this, and actually the one that caught my attention, which came up randomly on YouTube, was how to create the perfect afternoon tea. Like I'm going to be doing that anytime soon. Not. But let's take a look at his videos that he does have on here to get a sense of the kind of things that he's talking about. Now, this person who puts this up, this Nicolas Fairford, he does live in Edinburgh. He's a young man in his early 30s. And yeah, he's got a whole lot of very interesting videos on here. If we take a look at his playlist, just to see how they're categorized, he has videos talking about, well, he has a vlog, tea, entertaining, how-to videos, beauty and skincare. Okay, that's interesting. You might want a bit of a laugh there watching this. Travel, questions and answers, house tours. These are worth watching, his house tours, because he has a flat in Edinburgh, and he is a young fellow, although there is some suggestion that he may come from a family that is fairly well off, but he does have a style that is elegant, a little bit more for the older crowd, I would think, but you might want to check it out. Christmas. I didn't realize he had one about Christmas. I'll have to see how he decorates. I have a feeling it's probably very, over the top. And recipes. Now, he does have some very interesting recipes because I've watched a few of those. So if you want something that's entertaining, may give you some ideas about how to style your home or how to entertain. And although this might be a little bit on the pretentious style, you might want to check out Nicolas Fairford. So yeah, you might want to check it out. I mean, it's interesting. And as I said in my review, he's a little bit pretentious. And there's a whole controversy around whether or not he is who he says he is, or he's putting on a persona. But we all put on a persona in one form or another, I guess, in life, don't we? The face we show people. The people that know us really well, we have one face for those, and the people we're trying to impress, we have another face for those, and the people that we, don't like, we put on another face. So I don't know if that is such a bad thing, but apparently there's been a lot of people who, well, haters, they're basically haters, who have written things, negative things about this individual. Well, you be the judge. But I find his videos kind of interesting. Kind of on the line of, what's his name? Christopher Allen, talked about him before. That's someone that hasn't had a vlog in a bit. He kind of isn't really doing a lot of vlogs these days. I think he's posting a lot of things on Instagram, but I digress. So you will find the link for Nicolas Fairford in my show notes below. You'll find the link for our latest Stephen and Walter Live. Okay, I'm an idiot. You will notice there is, at the very beginning of the video, I had forgotten to hit a button on my little Elgato that I use here, my little switching panel, to set up the countdown, the timer countdown at first. So you see me struggling with things there. And then I thought I had ended the live stream when we were done. No, you've got a few seconds of Walter and I behind the scenes kind of thing. Most people would call those outtakes, I guess. And I did think of going in and editing that out, but you want to know something? The way that lives are done, the rebroadcast, they pop up right afterwards, and I couldn't be bothered. I figured I didn't say anything bad about anybody. No nudity was in that clip or anything like that, so I just left it. What the heck? Yeah, it's a bonus piece. Let's put it that way. So the link for that is in the show notes as well. There's a link for the Idiot Quilter episode 1, got to read my notes here, 158, Some Ambitious Projects, where I talk about what I've been up to, what I want to do as well, and other things. The Idiot Quilter presents Musings. Again, I didn't have an interview. You know what I'm always saying about that. I need an interview. I need people to interview. You don't have to be famous. In fact, I'd rather you weren't famous. I'll make you famous, okay? But anyways, so you have to listen to me go on and on. Yeah. So I talk about how quilting is a form of therapy. And in our So Chatty episode this past week, we talked about ugly fabrics. This was a topic that was suggested by one of our viewers, Eddie. And at first, I thought, well, can we make a whole episode out of that? Yes, we can. And a lot of you have commented on that as well, because I guess we're all guilty of buying ugly fabric for one reason or another. So anyways, all those links are in the show notes below. And so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. I call it Buddhas and Bunnies. Now, you may think, well, what's this got to do with anything? Well, lately I've been making a lot of Buddhas and Bunnies, which I'll talk about in the segment about my 3D printing. But it got me thinking about people in our society in general, especially everything we've been going through for the last 2 years with COVID, and how we've handled it, how our government has handled it, and now, of course, the whole business of Russia invading Ukraine and all that kind of stuff. So, I got thinking, you can divide people up in this world as types. And two types that I think kind of stand out and are sort of allegorical are Buddhas and Bunnies. Now, when you think of Buddha, you think of a fat, jolly little guy sitting with his legs crossed, being very contemplative and thoughtful about the world. And we do have Buddhas in our society. We have those people who, during a time of crisis or just almost on any event that happens in the world or in their life, they don't rush right in with both barrels blasting. They don't become very negative about it. They're not all rah-rah about it either. They think about it. They sit and they think about how they're going to react to these things and what those reactions, what the consequences are of how they react to these things. They think about other people. They think about the effect their reactions may have on other people besides just themselves. I guess what I'm saying is Buddhas are not what a lot of people in our society are, all about me. Buddha is about a state of harmony, a state of peace within our world. So we do have people like that. People who keep calm heads during a time of crisis, who do not rush right in with a knee-jerk reaction, who think about the consequences of any actions they will take, or the actions anyone else will take. Now, I think those are good people to have in society. In fact, if more of us were like Buddhas, I think there'd be a lot less stress, a lot more peace in our world, in both our personal lives and in our public lives and in the community at large. Are our governments Buddhas? No. That's where we need Buddhas. We need Buddhas in the government. There are probably a few individuals within our government systems that are Buddhas, who think about what's happening, how best to handle it, what the outcome will be of their actions. We need a lot more of those, don't we? I think it's been very apparent in this COVID thing we've been going through, and now with the Ukraine, that we have far too many people in our governments that are, knee-jerk reactions to whatever crisis is there. We vote for those people. We put those people in power, at least in a democratic country, with the idea that they know best, that they will keep our society civilized, that they'll keep the peace, that they have our best interests at heart, and that they carefully think about and contemplate their next steps and their actions and the consequences of those actions. We would like to think that. But the reality is, and COVID has certainly proven this within my own country, that we do not have enough Buddhas at all. But then there are the bunnies. And who are the bunnies? Well, I think the bunnies tend to be most of us. We go about our own business. We look after our own interests. We try not to get caught up in all the negativity in society. We just hop along. We're quiet, we don't do much, and then we get eaten. Yeah, because there's a lot of wolves out there, and they love to snack on bunnies, don't they? And what chance do we have? We're like lambs to the slaughter. Oh my God, I think I'm using every animal metaphor I can find for this today. But I mean, really, we don't lead. We let other people's lead for us. And I've just said what kind of quality leadership we've been experiencing in the last couple of years. Not good. And we just take it. Well, that's being a bunny. And I think we need to be, well, I think we need to be a bit of a combination of both bunny and Buddha. You know, we need to slow down. We need to think about our actions. We have to think about our reactions to things, how it affects us, how it affects the people around us, and things like that. But at the same time, we should not leave everything up to somebody else to solve. We need to be involved in solving these problems. And right now, that's really quite apparent with what's going on in the Ukraine. Our governments are being cautious, and that's probably a good thing because they're dealing with a madman. Putin's not sane. And anybody who thinks he is crazier than Putin. It's scary. I mean, after all, he is a nuclear power. There's been cries for NATO to put in a no-fly zone, but really, you need to contemplate those actions, think about them carefully, because if they put in a no-fly zone over the Ukraine and Russia ignores it, what does a no-fly zone mean? It means you shoot them down. Isn't that an act of war? And would that really calm Putin? I don't think so. So, a lot of people are saying we need to do more than economic sanctions, but diplomacy is really where we need our Buddhas in the government these days, don't we? But at the same time, they're not being bunnies either. They're doing something. So I think that is something we all need to be. We need to have a little bit of bunny in us. We need to have a little bit of Buddha in us. Combine those two things, and maybe we'll have a world that's much more peaceful. I don't know. On a personal level, I wish I was more Buddha. I tend to be more of a bunny. And at times I don't think about the consequences of my actions or my reactions. And that gets me into trouble 9 times out of 10 when I don't do that. So I need to be a little more Buddha, I think, as well. And I think all of us would benefit from being like that too. I guess. I don't know. You may think this whole, whatever it is, metaphor, I should know I'm an English teacher. Allegory? Well, it's not really an allegory. Okay, let's not get into the technical details of this. Whatever. My comparison of sorts here between people and Buddhas and bunnies, you may think that's a bit ridiculous, but I thought about it, and yeah. Enough. Let's move on. Okay. Let's take a look at what's outside my window today, what the weather's like. This is the first day of spring, officially. And it's a little dark, this picture, but there we are. You've noticed we've lost most of our snow. And we have still patches of it here and there, as you can see, but a lot of it is gone. And if the weather continues to be warmer, and right now it is, let me see, it's 1 degree Celsius, so 1 degree above freezing. I'm not sure what today's high is supposed to be, but the last few days it's been, much warmer, as it should be this time of the year. And yeah, the days, we just did daylight savings time a week or so ago. So yeah, even though this picture was taken at 7:30 in the morning, it's just, the sun's just coming up. Of course, the days are now moving towards getting longer. So, into the summer solstice, but that's a few months away yet. So yeah, so this is what things are looking like right now. Now, a lot of people are getting excited. We always do this time of the year because, first day of spring, warmer weather, no more snow. This is Canada. Next week, we could be buried under 2 feet of snow. We never know. We can have snow into April. We have been known to have snow, didn't last long, into May. So, yeah, let's not get our hopes up that high. But, when the warmer weather does occur, like this, when we get a hint of spring, it does lighten your heart a little bit. So that's what's outside my window today. And that takes us now to new products. Well, something happened this week. Something good. Something I've been waiting for quite a while. And it means that I have finally got my mother's estate finalized at the bank, and I could get my grubby little hands on my inheritance. And I have. It took 4 months with the bank to get that sorted out. It also to get it so that I could get it, I had to contact the bank manager. I had to go over the head of the person who's a financial advisor at the bank who looks after these things to get some clout in there. It was funny. Right after I'd contacted the bank manager, the next day, bang, I get an email telling me, actually, I got a phone call from the financial advisor telling me, yes, everything was done. It was ready. I could go in and do whatever I wanted to do with the money. So I did. She was trying to get me to open an account in this bank. My accounts are not with this bank. It was my mother's accounts. I won't deal with this bank because I don't like them. And I've got one that, banks are banks. They're all the same. They're all money grabbing creeps. The banks make the highest profit of any industry pretty much in the world. And that's because they take our money and don't want to give it back to us. So my bank isn't any different from that, but it's the devil you know. So I don't think she was happy with me that I was taking out my money and not leaving it in the bank, and that's too damn bad. So I got a bank draft for my sister's share, and I delivered that right over to her place. My brother's in BC. My sister lives in the same town, just one over from me, where this bank is that I'm dealing with. So easy peasy. My brother lives in BC, and he happened to have a bank account in the same bank that my mother's accounts are in. So they electronically transferred it right there in front of my eyes to his bank account. So my brother actually got his money before my sister and I got ours because both of us had to have bank drafts. And when you take your bank draft in, even though it's a bank draft, so this is like a check from a bank that says the money is there and all this kind of stuff, they put it on hold for 5 days before you can touch it. So I guess on Thursday or Wednesday, the funds are released to me. Sorry about that. Phone just rang and it was a scammer. And a scammer talking about banking business, the one you get. I'm sure everybody's had these that there's been 2 suspicious charges on your credit card or something like that. And it's always like something from eBay and another one in all these big gift certificates or something like that. Yeah, hang up on them. They keep trying, give it up. I really feel sorry for people who get sucked in by that, and it's usually older people with it, and that's what they're banking on. Pun not intended, but whatever. So what was I saying? I was talking about the inheritance in the bank. So my brother's got it electronically transferred to him. My sister and I both got bank drafts. We have to wait 5 days for those funds to be released, and that is all over. The only thing I did was I left a certain amount of money aside in my mother's bank account, or what is now called the estate account, because we have her final income tax and she does owe some money on that because Walter's been working on that. That has to be paid out of that. And I still need to make arrangements and pay for the engraving on the family headstone that has the year of her death on that. And they can't do it during the winter because it's too cold to use their equipment. But I think at the end of March, 1st of April, I'll give them another call. They know that I want this done and get that all sorted out. So I left enough money, more than enough money in the bank before I distributed each of our inheritance shares to us to cover that. And any money that's left over from that, I'll just divide it 3 ways and Send it out. I'll keep that account open though for a while, just in case there's anything more that comes to the estate, but there shouldn't be. But it's just a safeguard. Anyway, so we got it. I got it. Now, suddenly, this was a fair chunk of money. I mean, not millions, okay? But a fair chunk of money. Money that I've never seen all at once in my life. To be honest, I never felt that there would be any money from my parents, an inheritance. I figured it, basically I'd be paying for whatever they needed, and I did. Walter and I did for, well, 10 years or more since I retired. Basically, we paid for a lot of things. My parents did not have a lot of money. The money that they had, they had some, they were a little crazy with it. And that's probably why I'm being a bit cautious as well with this money that I've received. And I've always been cautious with my money too. Um, so, basically it cost us, I did keep kind of a record of it, about $20,000 over the past 10 years. Um, I bailed my parents out of some of their credit card debts, their car payments. We hired people to cut their grass when my father was still alive, but he could not do it or anything like that. When my dad was, was basically bedridden, I got in help with that for my mother and everything like that. So yeah, it ended up costing me about $20,000. Um, so, but I never figured. I mean, to be honest, I really did believe my mother would live longer than she did. And I wanted to make sure that there was money there after we sold the family house. I want to make sure there was money there to keep her for the rest of her life. Never really expecting that there would be any money left over, um, for us. Wasn't in the plan at all. Never expected it. So I did a few things with her accounts. I looked after her money. I invested some of it. I made it grow, not by a lot, not by a lot, but enough. Enough that I was, if she lived to be 100, there would still be money there to keep her and to look after all of her needs. Okay, that was my goal when I managed her money, not to make money for myself. Okay, I'm not a gold digger. Well, you know what happened? My mother actually, as far as I'm concerned, prematurely passed away, for a variety of reasons. And I've discussed those before on past blogs. So there was money and a nice chunk. So we each have our inheritance. Now, when you get money like this, you want to go hog wild. It burns a hole in your pocket. But I want to be smart about this. I mean, after all, Walter and I have to look after ourselves too. And we're not getting any younger. And we have plans in place for all of that kind of thing as well, financially. Walter's a very good financial planner. Maybe he should have done that as a business earlier in his life. But he's very good with it, and I look towards him for advice on things. And later today, I'm using his advice because I'm doing a few things with my stocks. Again, I don't have a lot of this. I don't want you to think that I'm a money bags. I am not. We are not. We are comfortable. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. So, yeah. I did buy a few things though. Now, you know that I was anticipating my inheritance, and when I got it, my plan was to buy the computerized system for my long arm machine. But a sale came up, prices were going up. I bought it before I had the inheritance all through. I kind of went into my savings and I paid for it. That was a big chunk of money. I don't have it yet because they told me it would take about 8 weeks. That's fine. Probably sometime in April I'll get it. But anyways, that's already gone out of my mind. It's paid for, whatnot. Everything's fine. So I don't have to worry about that. But I did buy something. I haven't got them yet. It's going to take about a month before I get everything. Bits and pieces of it are coming. Actually, I get some of the little bits and pieces this week, but the main events don't happen until about April, late April. I bought a brand new computer. Do I need a new computer? No, not really. The one I'm using right now is working fine. But I bought a Mac. Yes, I broke down and I bought a Mac. I've always been a PC user. Um, but Walter has a Mac now. He bought one about a year and a half ago, and he's loving it. He bought a Mac Mini. And yes, there's a bit of a learning curve because you're going from one operating system to a new one and all that kind of stuff. But I feel that I have the money right now to invest in something like this, so I'm going to do it. I mean, after all, what am I hanging on to all of this money for? Just so that my nephews and nieces get it, when I'm gone? Nah, I'm taking it with me. Nah, can't take it with me. I'm going to spend it. So, yeah. Now, this does not put a major dent into my inheritance, I'll tell you that. But, it's a big chunk of money because I just dropped $10,000. And you're going, holy shit, what kind of computer system did you buy? Well, I bought a lot of things. After a lot of contemplation, a lot of discussion with Walter, a lot of reviewing products and things, I bought a Mac laptop. It's a 16-inch screen, 2 terabyte drive. I upgraded things, 64 gigabytes of memory. Yeah. And all the little accessories I need for it to make everything compatible with what I'm doing. And some programs for it too that are Mac based that I need, like Word and Final Cut Pro, which is a video editing. I also bought a new iPad, an 11-inch, because I love my iPad. And I bought the pencil that goes with it. And I bought some earbuds because I use some really cheap wireless headphones that drive me nuts. And so I bought those. And I got the Apple Care packages, which is basically the insurance. And I know that is expensive. It's an expensive add-on, but when you're dropping this kind of coin on equipment, you want to be covered. Because we've had Apple Care on our cell phones, our iPhones as well. And I've used it. And it's really good to have. If you have a problem, Apple goes right to it. And it costs you nothing. So, yeah. So, as I said, $10,000. I'm excited about getting this. Well, you know me in technology. I love it. But I'm also excited about when I make my videos and doing editing and things, I'll now have proper equipment to do it. Because that's what Macs are famous for, is their ability for music and for video editing. So, yeah. As I said, I don't get it all at once. I'm getting the peripherals, the extra cables and things starting, I get the hiccups, starting Wednesday of this week. So Wednesday and Thursday, and then something else comes on Monday, and then my main things, the iPad and the Mac laptop, don't arrive until sometime into April or whatever. So I just have to be patient about all that. So yeah, that's what I did with some of my inheritance money. And I do feel a little guilty. I did feel a little guilty about it because, as I said, you have this money. Your first impulse is, what can I buy? And you want to hold back and you want to make wise decisions. You want to be a Buddha, okay, on things like this. But I'm looking at it another way. And maybe this sounds like it's a little selfish or it's all about me, but I put up with 10 years of pretty much hell. Financially, emotionally, and the whole bit with my parents. I looked after my parents. Could I have done a better job? Well, you can always do a better job, but I did the best job that I could at the time. And, so this is my reward for that. That's the way I look at it. And maybe you think that's selfish. I don't know. But that's what I've done. So you'll be hearing about that in the coming weeks when I get the things for it. I am excited about it. Okay, moving on. So that's the only new stuff this week, basically. So what am I doing in the 3D corner? Well, I called this episode Buddhas and Bunnies for another reason as well. And I'm just going to show you a picture here. And here you go. Buddhas and bunnies. Okay, you're going to laugh at this, but you know I have said a 3D printer is a toy for big boys. Okay? You make frivolous things. I enjoy frivolous things. What can I say? So there's this big craze right now in 3D printing where people have created Buddhas that have the heads of celebrities or famous people or cartoon characters on the Buddha body, as you can see here. So I've got Picard, I've got Yoda, I've got Freud, I've got Beethoven, Leonardo da Vinci, Indiana Jones, Groot, Lincoln, Charlie Chaplin, an alien, Donald Duck, and I'm making more. And there's quite a few of these I have collected. I'm also making shelves, like the ones that have my gnomes and that on it. I'm adding to all of that to put these on. And you're going to say, wow, isn't that impressive? Not. Okay, are you 5 years old making your little figurines? Yes, I am. Yes, I am 5 years old. There is a 5-year-old inside of me, and he comes out in my 3D printing. Also, I'm making these cute little bunnies. Why am I making these cute little bunnies? Because I'm going to fill them with little candied Easter eggs, and I'm having my sister and her husband and the kids here for Easter dinner in April. And I like to always put on my place settings a little something for people that they can take away after the dinner party home with them. So I am making one of these for each place setting. They'll have little candy eggs in it, as I've already said, and I just think they're fun and they're cute. And I'm making some larger ones, and I'm doing a whole sort of centerpiece made with 3D printed Easter related things, like big versions of these bunnies filled with candy as well, and some other types of bunnies and some eggs. I'm just having fun with it, but I had to start it now because, you know, these things take time. So after I took this picture, I think I've added 2 more Buddha busts to my collection, and I've added a couple of more bunnies. I've got all the bunnies that I need for the place settings. Now I'm working on centerpieces. And I just got thinking today that I should look up and see if I can find a pattern to make a nice table runner, an Easter table runner as well. Maybe a combination of quilting and embroidery on that. And that'll keep me off the streets for a while. I'm always looking for fun little projects to do. I have quilt projects to work on as well, but I've been organizing my kits for the retreat that comes up in another week and a half. So that's what I want to work on then. And I really don't want to start a major quilt project until I get to those, because I won't get 3 quilts done in the 3 days I'm at the retreat. But I'm taking 3 different projects in case I get a little bored with one. I can move on to another one, and then I'll finish them up here at home over time. So yeah, that's my creative endeavors right now. So that takes me then to Blast from the Past. This is Melbourne again, day 6, February the 10th, 2018. And this one is a little longer video, so I divided it into 2 parts. So this is
okay. So today, to start off with, we went down and got tickets for a riverboat cruise that happens in about an hour. So in the meantime, we're going to go through the ACMI, which is the Australian, what's it stand for? Australian Cinema
something.
I don't know, something to do with movies. Anyway, so that's where we're going right now. Cinema Museum, that's it. Okay. Hello.
You pick up one of the 3 little brushes?
Yeah, we got one. Yeah, they're the same one that's upstairs. And that's what we're doing.
Okay. You just do an idea of the layout.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Enjoy.
What's that? Like a oscilloscope?
shows you the thing rotating. Mechanical television based on
Laserdisc.
Yeah, see, the camera is pointing at the block, right?
Yeah.
And what it's doing is it's sending it through there, and it gives you the lines of the television. So you look through there.
Oh, I see. This is an homage to Dame Edna. I don't know how many of you know who Dame Edna is, but she's a character, Australian character, very famous worldwide, comedian. Has had numerous television shows out of Australia and Britain, I think.
Oh, this dress is Kylie Minogue.
Is what?
Kylie Minogue.
Oh, Kylie Minogue.
That one's Dame Edna.
Oh, that's Dame Edna's dress. Okay. Screening dress. And she's always famous for her gladiolas that she throws out at the audience. And we're about to start the river cruise. Walter looking a little excited.
Talk about on the way back. Does anyone like the sport rowing?
Yeah, sure.
What do you like about it?
Other people do it.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Is there a good reason why people don't like it though? Because the majority wins here. I tell you what I love about it, they travel in a direction we're not watching. So especially when all of this is happening around here, it can be quite frustrating. But Melbourne is actually renowned for having a long-standing history of rowing. Melbourne is responsible for the Awesome Foursome, which are the four athletes that won consecutive gold medals between Barcelona in 1992, Atlanta in 1996 and Sydney 2000. They came from here. And how do you make Olympic rowers on the Yarra River, you may ask? Well, we motivate them. They do very well on their own accord. And it looks like an Olympic button of some sort is being marched around here. Can you see that over there? There's a lady holding something in her hand as she jogs away. Now, one of the biggest rowing regattas in the world is known as the Henley on the Thames. Does anyone know this one?
Yes.
Okay, for those that do. Here in Melbourne, we have a replica event called the Henley on the Yarra. Being a British colony, they didn't put too much thought into a really decent name change. And up ahead on the right, we have one of the the only judges' box here in Melbourne for the finishing line for all the rowing races held here. This was built to commemorate the oarsmen who served for Australia in World War I. From this point to the next bend in the river is exactly 1 nautical mile, or the final stretch of any rowing race. A lot of private schools do have their rowing sheds on the banks of the Yarra, as you may have already noticed.
How'd you like the boat cruise?
It was okay, but it wasn't really
It was
that great.
boring. It really didn't.
Nah, I wouldn't recommend it.
No, what was it? 25 a piece. It cost
Yeah,
us.
wow.
Yeah, it was no thrill. So we're going to take a walk down the other end of the. Is this the north or south bank?
It's called South Bank.
South bank. You've seen videos before where we went up one way on it. Now we're going to go down the other way, and there's a botanical garden. Maybe take a wander around there. We're having lunch right now at a Greek restaurant down here. Fairly pricey place, but they're all pricey down here. And then tonight we meet up with the person that we met up with on a. What was that? Is that your?
That was the European crew. Their European tour.
Well, how many years ago was that?
That was 1992, I think.
1992 when we did that. I don't know. Walter remembers this person. I do not at all. But anyways, she lives here in Melbourne, so her and her husband are meeting up with us tonight at a restaurant near our hotel for drinks. Anyways, probably dinner, I guess. Today's going to be a fattening day because we've been averaging like about one major meal a day, and that's at lunch. And then at night we're just going to eat something really light. Sometimes not even eating at all. We're still been stuffed. I actually think I've lost some weight. Which isn't too bad an idea. But anyways, we'll see.
Pork deal.
Pork is that way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so I got a pork gyro and Walter got a chicken gyro.
It wasn't exactly right.
So that takes me to events in the past week, and really there hasn't been anything beyond the whole banking situation that I've already discussed. I have been getting more things ready for the retreat, as I've mentioned already. Yeah, I've done little bits of this and that everywhere, and we really haven't been anywhere. Haven't done any major shopping trips for fabric or anything like that. Yeah, it's been a fairly quiet week. Yeah. So what's coming up? Well, the retreat, of course, is coming up, but that's not that's a week from this weekend coming, so it's still a little ways away. Have some more things I need to do to get things ready for the retreat. I tell you, when you're packing for a retreat, you take everything but the kitchen sink, and usually you take too much, but I'll have to sit down and start making my list. I do this. Any place where I travel to that's a major excursion, I make a list of things I need to take with me, a packing list, I guess you'd call it, and check it off as I get everything organized, because you always forget something, right? And I try to avoid that. Of course, it means then that I start to anticipate what I might need beyond, and that means that I take everything except the kitchen sink. So more about that next week, I suppose, as I'm getting more into the groove for that. I'm looking forward to that, though. It's going to be like a little mini vacation kind of a thing, which will be nice. I'm a little worried about the whole COVID thing. I mean, we've got safeguards in place, or they do at the facility we're going to and everything like that. But yeah, today is no more mask day. Yeah, that's not going to last long. And what I mean by that is the Ontario government has decided that today, if you don't want to wear a mask somewhere, you don't have to. It's personal choice. Although businesses and institutions can still put in place a policy for their location that you must have a mask or not. I think it's a bad move. I think it's too early. I don't know. Time will tell. And of course, the kids were on March break last week, so they're all come back in school. And in the infinite wisdom of our Ontario government, they have said kids don't need to wear masks in school. Of course, the teachers and the administrators of schools and school boards are not happy with that. And the government has told them, too bad. You can't make your own policies about that. We've told you what's going to happen. Okay, Buddha or Bunny or just a-holes? A-holes, really, for that. So I'm expecting in about 2 weeks' time or so, our numbers will start to go up again, because all those little disease carriers have been off to warmer climes like Florida and whatever, and have been hanging out with large groups of people, not worried about masking and things like that. And yeah, you know what's going to happen. You don't need a Buddha to know what's happening with that. Anyways, yeah, time will tell. So, yeah, nothing in particular to look that I'm looking forward to this week. Just the usual same old things to do around here, projects to make. There's always projects to make, which are fun. So yeah, I'm starting to ramble now, so I'm going to leave. So thank you for joining me today. Oh, just as an aside, almost forgot about this. Wanted to tell you something. Thanks to that interview I did with Kate Jackson from the Last Homely House during my retreat a few weeks ago, holy crap, things have blown right out of the water on that. I have over 10,000 views on that video. I have never had 10,000 views on any video I've ever put up in the 10 years that I've been doing YouTube. That is phenomenal. And the comments that people are writing are so supportive of Kate. They love her to death. I wrote to Kate and told her about all of this, and I'm hoping that I have been able to channel people towards her YouTube channel as well to increase her. She is a lovely, lovely person. I can't say too much about Kate because she is. I'm really hoping there'll be some time in the future that I could actually meet Kate, like physically. Yeah. But anyways, it's on my bucket list or wish list. But it has... The spin-off from this, as I have gained, in the last week alone, I have gained over 300 new subscribers. I'm still small potatoes, people, but it makes me feel really happy when I see that. And I talked about that on Stephen and Walter Live yesterday, so I'm not going to go into a lot more detail. I'm hoping the momentum continues because people didn't know that I existed out there. A lot of them have written to me and said, we just discovered you. And a lot of the reasons are because they discovered my interview with Kate. So it's been great. I'm really thrilled with it. And actually, yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, I made a joke about liking. And I got a lot of likes yesterday. But apparently the algorithm on YouTube, everybody says that when you get likes and that, it I don't know, it does something. It makes your channel come up more to the surface, I guess, so people can find it more readily. I don't really know. I've never worried about that before, and I'm not worried about it right now either. Please like this video on it. Please subscribe. It does help me. Yeah, you hear that all the time from other people, and I don't want to be one of those people. But anyways, I just thought I'd share that with you because it's really thrilling me that, this was something I never expected in 1,000 years. So anyways, on that note, it's time for me to go. I hope you have a great week. The Idiot Quilter next episode will be up tomorrow, possibly a Musings as well, because I don't have any interviews. And at the end of the week, another episode of So Chatty. Have no idea what we're going to talk about. If you have suggestions, send them to me. And then Stephen Walter Live on Sunday, as usual. So I hope your week's great. I hope you're happy. That's a cross between happy and healthy. Happy, healthy, and everything in your life is going well. And we'll see you next week. Bye for now.